Peanut Hamper ditches Sophia. There are a lot of birds on Areolus, and thank goodness, Doyle's fecal matter is back to being oily and white. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 7, A Mathematically Perfect Redemption. Hey, Cirroc, how are you today? How's your fecal matter, by the way? Oily and white, I hope.
Yeah, it's holding. No, you don't hope it's happening. Something's wrong. Oh, gosh. I'm doing well.
What a relief. Me too. Well, we got a lot to talk about on this episode, and it is very Peanut Hamper centric. Did that take you by surprise?
It did. It really did. I don't know. At some point, I actually felt like I was like, "Is this the right show? Is this like?" Actually, I had to double start the episode because I think it said previously on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The episode started with previously on Lower Deck, so I was thinking, oh, so this is the second part of a two-part episode.
Yeah. What they were doing was they were kind of doing what Discovery does, which is they don't necessarily tell you what happened in the previous episode. They tell you what happened in some previous episodes that relates to this one. They're saying, hey, just a reminder, last year we had this character, blah, 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 that happened. Okay, welcome back to today. And it kind of sets us up nicely. But yeah, I did think about you at I think it was around the 7-minute mark. I was like, I wonder if Cirroc right now is thinking, hang on. Is this whole episode about, is this a scene or two of Peanut Hamper? Or is this a Peanut Hamper episode?
Yeah, and that's where I was like, I was lost in the beginning, the first about 7 minutes. The starting with the previously on, I was like, the previous, what? I was like, didn't they do the Deep Space Nine just before this? Isn't the Deep Space Nine episode previous to this? And I don't remember Peanut Hamper in that episode. Humper, sorry.
Peanut Hamper. Well, at least you said Peanut Hamper.
There was some peanut. Yeah, there was some of that going on in this episode as well. But no, I did. I was like, I was thrown off by the previously on. I was like, okay, well, am I missing an episode? Was there an episode in between the one I saw and this? Then I got it. I understood. Okay, so they're just saying previously, basically prior to you tuning in this very second, right?
It's a reminder of whatever's relevant to this episode. Yeah.
Right.
A refresher course.
Right. And it just went. I thought I thought it was going to end by the opening credits when Peanut Hamper says, "No, I'm out of here," and just goes into the space, and gets released into space. So I'm thinking, okay, that's an unusual opening, and I'm sure that it'll come back around to that at the end of this episode. So
that opening theme song was so cool that they had a different version of the song and a different version of the opening credits. I really loved that.
I did too. I actually enjoyed that opening. The graphics, everything, the whole drifting in space.
Yeah,
I liked it. But I also thought that was like, okay, we're going to throw you this bone here, and that's going to set up something that's going to come back around later on in this episode when we follow the crew, the lower deckers, and they're going to actually stumble back into Peanut Hamper at some point later, right? So I thought, okay, they're setting me up with a nice little future moment, but this thing became a whole Peanut Hamper side storyline, and I was like, "What is this? Is this Ren and Stimpy? What show am I watching?" The animation looked different, everything, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what is this?"
I was a little bit warned because I believe Tawny Newsome, who everybody knows plays Beckett Mariner, she was interviewed and she mentioned something about this episode. She was like, saying something like, this episode's a little different. So strap in. She kept saying strap in. I think it was strap in. But I'm not sure. I'll have to recheck the notes there, but I think she said strap in. And so I was, and I know, here's the thing. I had kind of an idea, like once that opening theme song ended and it brought us back to Peanut Hamper, I started to get a hint that it may just be like this the whole episode. And I was reminded of Mike McMahon's other show that he showruns, which is Solar Opposites. Solar Opposites is like, kind of a similar to Rick and Morty vein. And there's a whole side story of what goes on in the wall of this girl's bedroom. Because this girl like shrinks humans. And then when she doesn't know what to do with them, she's like, I'll just stick them in a mouse hole, right? And then she started sticking more of them. And so then there became this whole colony of people just in the wall, inside the wall of this little girl's bedroom, this little alien girl's bedroom. And so they've done entire like episodes now inside the wall. And I think it was like episode 9 of the first season. And it was amazing. It was epic. It was like the best episode. It was unbelievably good. And so I was wondering, this might be their version of the wall, like the Adventures of Peanut Hamper. Like they'll do like an entire episode or most of an episode or something like that. So I was reminded of that when I saw this. But for somebody like you that may have not seen Solar Opposites, you probably kept wondering, like, how long is this going to last? Is this just the whole episode?
I was like, this is the longest B plot. This B plot's turning into an A plot.
The longest B plot ever.
Yeah. It had jokes though. Whoever was guesting as the voice of Peanut Hamper was funny.
Oh, she's fantastic. Yeah.
She was fantastic. She was hitting her jokes like on point, the whole sarcasm, the whole I'm better than you kind of attitude. She personified that extremely well as a voice actor. So I did enjoy the performance, especially the ridicule. And I don't know why I enjoyed that so much, but when she starts talking down to people and just, acting like she's smarter, better than everyone, there was it made me laugh.
How did you feel when she called him Raw Dog?
His name is Raw Dog. Raw Dog.
Yeah, and she called him Raw Dog. I was like, wow, these guys, as Stewie on Family Guy would say, they're not afraid to go there. Like the guys, the dad's name is Kaltoris of Areolus, and this other guy's name was practically Raw Dog in it. There was one other, really.
What was the other guy's name? Kaltoris?
Yeah, Kaltoris of Areolus.
I gotta write that down so I can see it.
Yeah. And so, a lot of adult humor is like a little wink, wink and a nudge, nudge. This is like a bucket of ice water being poured on your head. It's not the most subtle. They're just like, go for it. Whatever. Yeah. You know what you're watching. Don't yell at us. You know you're watching adult humor. That's what they're thinking. They're like, don't pretend.
No, I actually love the moment when Boimler was trying to pronounce the planet. And it actually, this is all a play on. I don't know if it's all a play on, but I remember a very similar situation with the Areolus. It was in the movie Coming to America. It was when
the original
Coming to America, when Eddie Murphy's parents come into town. Played by James Earl Jones and and his wife, who played the Queen. Mm. And so when they go to the house of the McDowell owner, who was the dad on Good Times, she announces her name, and she says, "I am Queen Areolas," and he says, "Elorius." He's like, "I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I feel like breakdancing," and that was like that.
I gotta watch
Yeah,
that
that
movie
was
again. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I had no idea that was James Earl Jones's wife that played the queen.
no.
I thought that's
That
what you.
was yeah, no,
Okay,
just the woman who played his wife in the
okay,
got
got it. I was like, okay, my
Her name
knowledge
was
here is way.
Areola. I
Yeah.
think her name was Areola. He was like, Aurelia, Areoli. He says, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I feel like breakdance. That's one of my favorite lines of that movie.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought Boimler had a funny, like, delivery of trying to show this awkward nervousness.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of which, and that's this scene right here behind me. Miggly Mo's back there. Miggly Mo should have been like, hang
Yeah.
on, I'll handle this. These are bird
Yeah,
people. These are my people.
Yeah, and I was a little bit disappointed about that too, because I was expecting Miggly Mo to have more of a connection. Hey, these are connected to me somehow. So I thought there was going to be a moment there for him to have like a discovery moment, like a Odo finding the founders type moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was mentioned, I think it might have been, was it Boimler or was it Peanut Hamper? Somebody said these guys are a poor excuse for Aurelians. It was a Peanut Hamper, like the poor man's Aurelians. That was cool because Aurelians are those other bird people that were in the animated series, and I think they were shown again once or twice in Lower Decks in previous episodes, and they're very close. Aurelians, Aurelius, or Areolus, or what? So like, it's certainly a play on that. It's definitely a play on the Aurelians. Another cool reference was when Peanut Hamper said she wanted to go to Free Cloud and be a Dabo girl. Free Cloud was from episode 7, maybe episode 6, but I think episode 7 of Picard's first season, when they went over to Free Cloud, this planet that's basically like Vegas, and Quark is there. And so, of course, if Quark's there,
isn't that where we first saw 7 of 9? I think on Free Cloud.
Yes, Free Cloud.
Free Cloud. They actually did one of those kinds of word plays in this episode. They said "flock this way."
I didn't catch that. Really?
Yeah, it's like flock this way, flock this way.
That's pretty nice. Little Run DMC and Aerosmith there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And Peanut Hamper also had a nitpick that was worthy of us. She was like, why do you call it a sky snake? If everything has wings, wouldn't it just be a snake? And I'm like, yes, you get us, Peanut Hamper. You are correct. And so that's really cool that the people that are writing Lower Decks are that self-aware of these kinds of things that shows do, where they're like, oh, it's Sky Snake, or it's oh this, or it's oh that. And then we all think like, hey, why are you calling it that? Like a robot planet, and they're like cyber this and cyber that, or robo this. Be like, why would you add that prefix? Sorry.
Yeah, I wrote the same thing down too. They even made fun of, like, somebody said Peanut Hamper. What a stupid name, and I was thinking the same thing to myself. so they trolled their own stupid name, which I think is great. There's a new commercial out for, I think it's Hulu, and they have a new thing, Hulu Plus Plus Plus, or something like that, or something like that. And so, as part of their advertising for the campaign, the people are all sitting around talking about, hey, what about it? What name should we call this? And somebody says, just call it Hulu Plus 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 Plus. And the guy says, that's stupid, but we're going to use it. And to me, it's like, that's the kind of self-deprecation that you have to have in order to have a good sense of humor. And I think that they do that extremely well. Yeah.
That's stand-up comedian 101 right there, right? Make fun of yourself first, and then everybody else is open season because you're like, hey, I'm making fun of myself the hardest, so you can take a joke too, and they certainly laugh at themselves, which is beautiful. They also got very naughty when Peanut Hamper and what's his name, Raw Dog.
I mean,
when Peanut Hamper and Raw Dog had their and like from the very beginning, I was like, are they going to do a love story between Peanut Hamper and Raw Dog? But they did, and they had to accelerate it, and it worked. It was great, and they had this. I can't find where it was, but she was like, she's teaching them bad words, and then a baby gives her a dirty stick, and she's like, how special. Raw Dog screeches like a monster when he's like, I want to sing. But what was the part where when he says, he's like, our pieces are so different, and she says, yours are so complicated, and he says, but how will we? And she goes, we'll just have to wing it. And it's like, and then like he sticks his tongue in her projector or whatever. It was madness.
Yeah, it was. I laughed too. I wrote that down too. We're just gonna have to wing it. I thought that was a funny little, double entendre there. And that scene was was so awkward. It was just awkward.
If that was on a VHS tape, that part would be all worn out.
Yeah, and what's funny is when they were flying together, and she was like, "Sing for me," and he's like, I was busting out laughing.
Beautiful. I thought that was Mariah Carey for a second there. I couldn't tell.
But just the whole sing for me, it's like, it's not good enough that I'm taking on this romantic flight. I got also, what did you want? Barry White. So also, you mentioned the reference that they made about the Dobbo girl. I thought that was another like cool reference. Here, this robot wants to be a Dobbo girl and never settle down. Basically, she wants to live free, fast, and loose, and enjoy her life. And I'm thinking, but you're a robot.
So's Data. But
I guess so.
But Peanut Hamper's clearly has her emotions chip, because she is more human than human, as Rob Zombie would say of White Zombie. Everybody knows, also from some old movie or something. But she's basically like God, what is that? Anyway, whatever. She's about the id, she's about herself. She's about like self indulgence to the max. All the humans and all the people, the races are trying to be like so evolved, and she's like, fuck that. I want to be human. I want to live. I want to screw people over. I want to have fun. And it's true, because like when you see it from her point of view, she's like, they expected me to sacrifice my life on my first day on the job. Get out of here. Bye. You're like, oh yeah, that was kind of rude of them.
And then she can see the person that the robot that they did get to do it. Like, oh, you wanted me to do that?
Oh yeah, right. Great friends. Thanks, friends. That's what you wanted to happen.
But there were some moments that, I mean, besides the comedy, like one was like, wow, stare much? When she arrived at the planet, I thought that was hilarious. But there were moments where you kind of like, it was weird, even for this robot who I extremely hated in the beginning, because it was just like too much over the top, self-indulged and self-centered. But there were moments when I kind of felt myself actually rooting for this Peanut Hamper. I think the one moment was when when she said, "I'm Starfleet," and that communicator like lit up on, and I felt, I don't know, it just felt special just for that 1 second. I was like, all right, standing up, you're starting to learn, you're going to get
especially
it.
Because the title had the word redemption in it. So they're tricking us into thinking that this is a redemption story, and we're expecting that. And then she just keeps giving us the okie doke.
Right. So I was ready to do the redemption at that moment. I was like, okay, I'm Starfleet. You're stepping up you're going to save everybody's life.
Yeah.
Um,
She's 0 for 3. By the way, I think I said id. I think I meant ego. I can never remember. The ego and the id. I think she's about the ego, not the id. Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah,
I can't
one of
pretend to be
those.
smarter than I am.
But the funniest scene, for me, was when the jerk Monty came through and they basically outed.
Yeah.
They outed Peanut Hamper, and Peanut comes clean and just says, what are the odds? It's like, starts explaining herself. And then when Raw Dog starts getting sensitive, she's like, oh, come on, just shut them. I was busting out laughing at how insensitive she was to Raw Dog, who had fully fell in love with her, wanted to get married, run away, and leave.
He was like, I want to go with you. And she's like, well, no. We don't have to go that far. And that's great. That's great comedy because we expect her to have the redemption story. We expect the Dieckmann to be the bad guys. And then we find out that the person that we've been following through this whole thing that we're supposed to be rooting for is still just rotten to the core. And the Dieckmann get blasted down doing just what they were told they could do, and Raw Dog has got a broken heart or whatever they have in their innards. And then, of course, the fun part is she gets put in that evil robot room with our good buddy, Jeffrey Combs, who plays Agamus. And now we're thinking, okay, there's going to be a third episode with Peanut Hamper and Agamus in which something's going to happen, right?
Well, JG was in this episode too, right?
I don't know if that was him again. I thought it was a different voice.
No, that was JG. I wrote him down. He was the Drip Monty or Jerk.
Dieckmann.
I call them Jerk Monties because they're a bunch of jerks.
He did play the Dieckmann captain in a previous episode, so I thought it might be him too, but it sounded different. I don't know. Did it? I didn't check the credits afterwards. Did you check?
I didn't check the credits. No, I just wrote down that's JG's voice because there was a certain words that he says that
the way he says things.
Yeah, only JG can say it. So I'm pretty sure it was JG something. Well, that's pretty cool. JG and Jeff Combs in the episode that came right after the DS9 episode. So, that's even more like kind of back to back paying homage to Deep Space Nine.
Love it.
Kind of liked it.
And if that is JG, that's a great job of him changing up his voice, because, so many times, especially with a voice that's so recognizable like his, usually we can tell, oh, that's definitely him. Oh, you're right. I just checked. Check it out. Here is, oh, wait, we can't do the screen share on Paramount Plus. But anyway, I just went and checked. And on Paramount Plus, it does say special guest star J.G. Hertzler as Dieckmann captain. That's amazing that I was specifically listening for his voice and actually thought, no, that's too different. Can't be him. So kudos to him for fooling this guy. Not that it's that hard, but good catch.
No, I figured it out. I was listening. And I'm like, okay, we got JG and Jeff Combs right after the DS9 episode. That's a big kind of follow-up.
Wow. Yeah, good point. So that's JG, Jeffrey Combs, Nana Visitor, and Armin Shimmerman in 2 episodes in a row.
Right.
Badass.
Right. So shout out to Mike McMahon for, keeping us at the forefront of his thoughts and, keeping us in the mix. So that's a good deal.
Yeah. That makes me wish that we called up JG and brought him on again. He's probably like waiting by the phone, like, these dicks. They invited me for the previous, but when I'm Dieckmann captain, suddenly that's not good enough. It's only if you bring back Martok. But we definitely love JG Hertzler. He's been so good to our show, so good to us.
Absolutely.
As people. He's a wonderful human. And we can't wait to have him back. And he did something really cool with the Roddenberries recently. Can't wait to check that out. The Star Trek themed rock band that's immensely talented. So everybody go check that out.
Well,
anyway,
he had a joke in this episode. He says, we recorded what
yeah.
peanut butter said. I think she called it peanut butter.
Yeah, good old our buddy Peanut Butter.
Yeah, but no, I like this episode. At first I was thinking, okay, how long is it going to take? Because it took a long time for them to get back to the ship and to the regular characters. I mean, there was a good 7 to 10 minutes of just straight, nothing but peanut. And I was thinking, how long? I was like, is this whole episode going to be? Are they ever going to get back to the lower deck cast that we, know and love? Yeah, we know and love them, and those are the people I'm looking to see. So I'm like, I don't know about this episode, but it did have a little turnaround, and it did have its moments where you see that they're trying to push the limits on what we expect in the kind of formula of Star Trek. So everybody's used to a formula. That's one of the things we like about Strange New Worlds so much, is because it's adhering to the formula, right? But to its credit, Mike McMahon is actually pushing the boundaries of what we expect in Star Trek, and really expanding where you can go with it through his comedy. So just like the little people that are living in the walls and that other show that you mentioned, Solar Opposites.
Yeah.
Brilliant. He's not afraid to take risks. He's not afraid to build on other storylines. So this is essentially a Badgie episode. Remember?
Wow. We got to see Badgie versus Peanut Hamper.
Yeah.
Or Badgie versus Peanut Hamper and Agamus, but then Agamus turns on Peanut Hamper, and it's like, and then the Cerritos people are like, who do we root for? Who do we help? I don't know. Let's just stand back and let them destroy each other. See what happens. Everybody in the comments below, please let us know, who do you think would win in a winner-take-all battle royal or battle royale between Agamus, Peanut Hamper, aka Peanut Butter, aka Peanut Humper, and Badgie. You guys, we got to run to our free-for-all right now. We're going to let in a few people and talk a bit more about this episode. But before we do that, we'd like to give a very special thanks to Homer Frizzell, Dr. Marie Segal, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackmon-Tom, Carmen, aka Skillet. By the way, Anne-Marie and Yvette and Homer are all at New York Comic-Con helping out with Chase Masterson.
Oh, wow.
And everybody knows her as Lita, and her Pop Hero Coalition. I think there's another word in there. I'm not good with that name. But anyway, go check it out. Go check out Chase Masterson's Twitter. Those guys are helping her out. Also, thank you to Timothy Baum, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arucan, Titus Mohler, Darlena Marie, John Mann, Dr. Mohamed Noor, Tierney C. Dieckmann on a post, Rex A. Wood, Anil O. Palat, Erica Strom, Joe Balsarati, DQ, Mike Gu, Neil Akasaka, Justine Norton-Kurtzen, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, Radek Orszewski out in Southwest Poland, kicking ass and taking names, Henry Unger, my live from Tokyo, and of course, Dr. Susan V, as in Victory, Gruner. All right. Pop Culture Hero Coalition. Yes, I knew there was another C in there. Thanks, Cirroc. Pop Culture Hero Coalition with Chase Masterson. She does a lot of amazing things. Go check it out. They're at New York Comic-Con this weekend. Anyway, stick around for the free-for-all. We'll be right back on The Seventh Rule.
Good choice.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton, of course.
Hello.
We were having a very wholesome discussion right before hitting record. This is the free-for-all. Joining us for the free-for-all, of course, Homer Frizzell is here.
Easy.
We have Gul Scott Jensen chilling. Dr. Mohamed Noor on fire. We have Carrie Schwent out somewhere in the Himalayas or something. There's a hand that floated there. Malissa Longo is joining us with her Radical Seventh Rule shirt. TJ Jackson-Bey's out in Missouri with a Vegas shirt. Looks like Sci-Fi Sisters representing. Is that what I see?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So this episode was very funny. Cirroc and I dissected every single joke that was made, but maybe you guys caught something we didn't. What do you think, Homer? By the way, check out Homer's shirt.
Yeah, this is Lower Decks, episode 4 of this season. So there. Jokes that you guys missed. Well, boy.
Or things you liked.
I like the fact that we took a break from the main cast and we followed someone that was just in one episode. I like it when Star Trek does that. And I think it allows them to explore some things they wouldn't get to explore otherwise. So we have Peanut Hamper. Just a great character.
You'll never guess, Homer, what Cirroc called Peanut Hamper earlier today.
You're right. I don't remember exactly what Peanut Hamper said, but they had a lot of comebacks for folks after she landed on the bird planet in sort of running them down. And I think specifically when she first met the Birdman, the prince, I want to say Rauda, but she called him something completely different.
Yeah, what was it that she called him? I forgot.
Raw dog.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh,
that was it.
That was a setup.
Yeah.
That was a setup.
oh, whoops.
That's good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Overall, I'd give it a 7.8 probably. The only thing I take issue with, and it was done, of course, for effect, is just that we can't believe anything from Peanut Hamper, and I was really starting to believe the relationship, and I don't know what happened or if all along the plan was to just escape from there and stay away from the Federation, or how conniving they are. So I don't know how much of it was planned in advance.
What was your favorite moment? What made you laugh the hardest? Right now,
I didn't
Mohamed
laugh.
just looked up like, is he going to ask me that? What was my favorite moment?
Yeah.
He did, exactly.
He did. Go back on the tape. He stopped and was like,
Totally did.
what was your favorite moment, Homer?
I think it was the castaway moment, with I think it was was it Sylvia or Sophie or Sophia? Yeah. Yeah. And then one of us has to go. I enjoy it. I mean,
literally Sophie's choice.
Well done, TJ.
But not
Nice.
Sophie's choice.
Not by Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
Chose for Sophie.
Yeah. But I also did like that raw dog comment as well.
Why?
Why did you like that?
I thought it was fairly clever on the part of Peanut Hamper taking a name that sounds like something and making it into a name that sounds like something else, and that is actually derogatory in that some people don't like raw hot dogs. They like them to be cooked.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent word.
Logical.
I like raw hot dogs, but that's getting off track. Let's keep going.
we
Well, we might want to
gathered
explore that a little bit more too.
Actually, we don't. We don't want to explore that.
I yield the balance of my time.
Melissa Longo,
Yielding
would you like to
side.
save us from this cool beverage?
I don't know if I'm going to save you because I kind of had a question.
Oh no.
Boy.
I was wondering if the areolus was a distant cousin of the blue-footed booby.
Ooh, good knowledge on the blue-footed booby. It's one of the few bird species that practices siblicide.
Are we still talking about Star Trek?
We stopped a long time ago.
They named them.
It's one of the only animals that practices what? Tennis? Homer?
Siblicide, like obligate siblicide, where
Mohammed?
one sibling will kill the other.
Oh, rude.
Well, yeah, that's not nice.
Mm-mm.
Isn't it nice?
Look at this.
They're very
little
cool
jerk.
animals.
Look at this guy. He's mean.
It's like a sibling killer. Get him.
Anyway,
Written on his face.
Please continue, Melissa.
Yes.
So you didn't ask that question before? Okay, good. No, it was a fun episode, and I was buying into the love story too, but that darned Peanut Hamper got me too. Rascally Peanut Hamper. She's not to be trusted ever, 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 ever. And the first clue, well, the 20th clue was when she sacrificed her only friend in the entire universe for herself. So this was never going to change. But hope dies last, I guess. You can still hope for people and their humanity, but she's a machine, so I guess that's out the door too. But it was fun, and there was I wondered if the scar-faced bird was a nod to the Lion King, but I don't know why it would be. But it reminded me of Scar. I don't know.
They referenced some other species. I didn't recognize the name. They referenced, like I said, aren't you a low budget blah? They said some other species. name.
Aurelians. Aurelians
Another
are
bird
from the
Aurelian.
animated series,
Yeah.
right? They were like yellow and they like had an orange beak and they just look like tall. They look like Big Bird, kind of, and they're in the animated series, I believe.
But yeah.
And then they were also brought back in Lower Decks, like 1 or 2 episodes of Lower Decks, we saw them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. But they look a little bit more sleek than Big Bird. Like they're cooler looking than Big Bird.
Wow, some real Big Bird shade going on here.
No, but I loved Big Bird. I loved Big Bird growing up, but he was kind of goofy. He was a little bit goofy, and these guys look like muscle birds.
Yeah, Big
Here
Bird will
are-
never have a six-pack abs.
Yeah, look at that character.
I mean,
Man.
These are the Aurelians of the animated series fame. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good
Homer?
stuff. What?
Boy, Homer has noticed something he wants to share.
Well, I just am wondering how they get their feathers to do that. If they go to the beauty parlor and they have them plucked, or what?
Oh, in the picture I just showed.
Can I just add that I thought it was really funny that Peanut Hamper added a beak to her
Yes.
under her veil, which was hilarious. It's like she's got a beak now.
Hey, if you
Wow.
can't beak them, join them. I don't know what to say about that.
Oh, God.
But
Or even after, when she, flipped sides and she told Mr. Rada to grow a beak. Oh, grow a beak.
Yeah.
yeah, solid.
Aw.
All right, TJ, what else you got for us? You probably loved every second of this episode, it seems.
I enjoyed the journey, the twist, the whole bit was great. And, like Homer mentioned in the chat, I hope that they do bring Peanut Hamper back and take us on another journey, because that was fun. What I really like to see is kind of a journey with her and Tindy, because Tindy's so positive and will probably, try to help her or, believe her. So I'd like to see Tindy go on this journey and see, what happens when I've been distracted. When she encounters Peanut Hamper again to see if will she trust her, or how far will that trust go, and yeah, I like Tindy, so I want to see Tindy go on a journey with Peanut Hamper.
Yeah.
But in this one, was really interesting to see kind of a single character on the planet that we've never been to before, without the rest of the crew, as was already mentioned. And I thought one of the funniest observations that Peanut Hamper made was like, does everything on this planet have wings? And
Always.
like, okay, if everything has wings, why do you have to call it a sky snake? It's just a snake, because it does not distinguish it from anything else that it flies. Everything flies.
Although it's still valid because it is in the sky.
Yeah, that's true.
We could call it an earth snake if we really wanted to.
Yeah, we say earthworm, right?
It would be redundant.
Well, sometimes
redundant.
That's DJ special right there. And so, I thought it was neat that they, even though they didn't keep verbalizing that, they did keep showing different creatures that were flying, different, livestock and things that were feeding, but they were also flapping and flying at the same time. So to me, that was one of the funnier gags in the show. And, it was neat, again, being away from the crew that we follow every week, but we did get to see them working on the bridge, like pictured behind you. We had, Boimler and Mariner, piloting the ship and doing stuff. So we still got to see them. We didn't see Rutherford, I don't think, at all.
No.
So I miss my guy. He's pretty cool too. And poor Boimler, struggling to say the name of his planet on the bridge of the planet Areola. What? What? So great episode. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again.
I wonder if the water on that planet was made of Red Bull.
It gives you
very good.
Well done.
Oh my. Wow, look at that. This episode has been sponsored by.
Did anybody else get confused by the previously on opening?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I wasn't the only one. If Mohamed was confused, then I felt good. I feel good about myself.
All right. Well, up next, Carrie Schwent, who's looks like she's up in the mountains, but she's actually driving through Nebraska. How are you today, and how much did you love this episode?
Oh, so much. Peanut Hamper is hysterical, and her hanging out with the Mr. Six Pack, quality time turning to sexy time. And I look over at my husband, who had already watched it, and then we swapped drivers. I look over at him. I'm like, okay, well, I watch it now. But not prepared that scene at all. And then he brought up something, and then I added to it. But this episode gives a whole new meaning to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Struggled a little bit, but I did manage to come up with a haiku.
Oh, good.
Birdman with six pack. Peanut Hamper's no hero. Hi there, Agamus. That was so nice to see him at the end. Her getting sent to mechanical AI jail, and she's got Agamus as her next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Catching up all sorts of fun revenge plans when they get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good old
Yeah,
Agamus.
just absolutely hysterical episode.
Do you think we're going to have Agamus
The lack
and
of, like
Peanut?
a regular credits was
Carrie, do you think that we're going to have Agamus and Peanut Hamper come back in a future episode, ready to take over the world? And by world, I mean galaxy.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so. I want that team up. That would be fantastic.
All right. Glad you're being safe. I know you're not actually driving. You're in the passenger seat. Everybody at home, just know that we have created a poll, and we asked who wins this evil three-way battle royale between Peanut Hamper, Badgie, and Agamus. And right now, between us, only us, you guys discuss amongst yourselves. Badgie got 57% of the votes. Agamus got 29%, and Peanut Hamper bringing up the rear with only 14%. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Goldu Scott Jensen, what's up? How are you? Cool shirt.
Thanks.
How much did you laugh?
I laughed a good bit in this one because of the little stuff. Well, first off, because of the giant cinematic opening as well. It's like, is this Wrath of Khan? What are they setting up? Like, Peanut Hamper and Khan are on the same level at this point. But there's so many little things. I looked up the voice actor for Peanut Hamper just to see some of the stuff she'd done here and there, because this stuff sounded like half of it was just like shooting from the hip, and that it takes the delivery of making it sound like it's not lines. I think is so amazing. My favorite one was sticky berry feathers. Don't touch me, when the babies were trying to get her. They had very sticky feathers. Like, anybody that's ever had a kid or been near any of them know there's jelly on every last bit of their fingers. So it extends to bird babies too. And then there was another second too at the very end when the ships are crashing and Shax comes running out with like an armload of little baby chicken people and just dumps them all out. Anything that Shax does, I absolutely love. But saving little baby chickens are probably the most current thing. And then my favorite thing was I think now this is still a record. I feel like there's been a DS9 reference in every single episode this season, because I had plans to go away to Free Cloud, which is a Picard reference, and become a Dabo girl and never settle down. I said, Dabo girl, Dabo. Which it was a hard act to follow last week's episode, but I did enjoy this one a whole lot too.
Yeah.
Wow, every episode so far, really?
The season so far, I might be mistaken, but I think everyone has at least had a reference or bigger references.
Right.
Yeah.
You might be right.
This is the DS9 season. You're right.
Ooh.
All right, let's keep it up.
And then especially with JG and Jeff Combs being in the episode as well.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
All right. Speaking of Deep Space Nine, everybody, Dr. Mohamed Noor is here. He played a Ferengi in 7 episodes of Deep Space Nine, a Tellarite in 4 episodes of Next Generation, and a Klingon in 1 episode of Voyager.
What
how
a
are you?
chameleon.
Yeah, it's amazing. I didn't even know I did that. I'm doing great. I enjoyed this episode greatly. I watched it this morning, and I was having an early lunch break, or not exactly lunch, but snack break. But yeah, I think you guys hit the main things that I thought were really exciting about it. One piece I don't remember, I'm not sure if you were referring to this, Scott, when you mentioned the comment about the introduction, but I like the intro music, kind of more subtle there, with Peanut Hamper just kind of waiting for somebody to come. I thought that was very funny. But all the other things you guys listed were great. I did have one nitpick when that ship came by and swooshed by Peanut Hamper like moved beside it, and I was like, wait, but there's no air. It should just there should be no effect whatsoever on himself. The only thing I could come up with, maybe it had this like big gravitational pull or something. Maybe that's what I don't know. I was just trying to come up with some science.
Maybe there was like a wave. Maybe it leaves like some kind of warp wake. But they weren't in warp speed. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, it still doesn't really work well. The only thing I can come up with is maybe some sort of gravitational pull. That was the best I could come up with, but even that's a bit of a stretch there. It would have to be
or electromagnetic.
I like that.
Ooh, very nice.
Good job, TJ. Saved.
Maybe she got
Peanut Hamper's made out of metal, so
she got nicked by the artificial gravity on the ship.
Yeah, there you go. It could be that, or like you said, magnetic pull. No, that works. No, but I enjoyed it great. I thought it was fantastic. I don't want to belabor it. especially the beach ball thing. That was hilarious.
Mohamed, did you catch when they said, also speaking of science, the bird people said something to the effect of, back when we used to fold space or something, right? That must have been like a warp.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. She said that. Peanut Hamper said, "You mean warp or something like that?" Yeah.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's called a warp drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was so busy writing that down feverishly, I didn't catch that they actually acknowledged that. All right. Cirroc, any final thoughts on this glorious episode?
Well, one, I was asking myself, because I think Homer brought it up, but I was thinking to myself, did Peanut Hamper do any good in this episode? Was there any good? And I thought, yeah, Peanut Hamper did do good. So she saved the chief of the bird village, right?
Yep.
With the venom, anti-venom.
It's true.
She delivered those little baby hatchlings. And even though she was the one that called the Dieckmann, there was a level of guilt there when they showed up and were about to destroy that whole planet's, civilization. She felt somewhat guilty and decided to call Starfleet to somehow bail them out of that situation. So if you really were ruthless about it, then she wouldn't have called Starfleet. And once she saw that the Dieckmann were destroying everything on that planet, essentially, and going to leave those people destitute. So there was a sense of compassion there for the bird people from Peanut Hamper. So I don't know. I can't say that it was all bad. A lot of it was self motivated for their own survival, and whatever their instincts for their own benefits were. But still, at some point, there were moments where Peanut Hamper actually showed signs of goodwill and even heroism to some degree. So I give credit for that. It's just the problem was that at the end, it just always came down to, I'm not a team player. And I think that was really one of the lessons that I got from watching this episode about, you can't be part of Starfleet if you're not a team player. You can, you can go on little miniature individual moment rants like Kirk does and all of these captains do in different moments where they just decide to break the rules and go in one small direction, but it's usually for a team victory. Even when they do that, it's not for lifting their own stats up or self aggrandizement. So I did kind of get a little bit of good qualities from Peanut Hamper.
Well, and Peanut Hamper also is stoked a level of confidence in Raw Dog that I don't think he had before. To take a look at the technology that they do have and maybe use it for better purposes, use it for good things rather than, it doesn't have to be a detriment. If you use it right and use it wisely, it can actually help you out and help other people out too.
You guys.
Speaking of that, is this the first time that the Cerritos has made an actual first contact?
Didn't they do their
they did
first contact in the last episode of the second season? I think it was called First Contact. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so this is second first contact.
Right. So they got another one. They got another first contact.
Well, this is not technically a first contact, though. I think it's not. I don't know. Maybe Homer will be the judge.
It's a first contact of a new generation.
Right.
It's first contact for.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in
Hamper,
space before, but they haven't met the actual Federation. So
right.
Technically, first contact.
Yeah.
Not a prime directive violation because they were already a spacefaring species, but still a first contact. They never met them before.
Yeah.
Right.
Although they knew the name of the planet, so that's weird.
So does first contact happen? This is a technical question. Is it the first alien species that contacts a primitive race, or is it the first time Starfleet contacts a primitive race?
Starfleet. It's a Starfleet regulation.
Okay, so for example, in this episode, the Drumani or whatever, they would be essentially the first contact, right? The actual first contact, but because they don't have a protocol of seeking and discovering the universe, it doesn't fall under that for them. But so first contact is a Starfleet thing. I just want to clarify.
Yeah,
from the Starfleet perspective,
Post
I mean,
Cochrane,
from the people on the planet perspective, like they've been in space before, so they already know that there's other people and stuff. They've contacted other races before,
and they
so
also
from their
have
perspective, it's not a first contact at all.
Right, and they have more sophisticated weaponry apparently and shields than Starfleet. So they're not as primitive as.
Need to be trying to get the hookup there.
Right. Yeah.
All right, everybody. This has been First Contact 101. Homer and I are still trying to figure out exactly if it's first contact no matter who does it, or if it's only first contact. I guess
not like Peanut Hamper. Peanut Hamper made full contact.
Well,
okay, all right. Full in basketball, they're called full contact drills.
But we do call the first contact when the Vulcans first stepped on Earth, and this was before the Federation was established. So,
so they adopted it from the Vulcans, maybe.
I've actually seen twice that the Vulcans had actually been on Earth before that.
Yeah, I've met a couple. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, we got to run, everybody. Homer's getting pissed. He's like, "Guys, wrap it up. Wrap it up." That also means home run, Homer. That's Homer's. This is Homer's symbol.
Oh, that's a Homer.
That's right.
This is a Homer.
All right.
We're gonna do that every time now, Homer.
Yeah,
Homer.
Run the bases. Run the bases.
That's good. Let's keep it fresh. That's awesome.
All right, everybody. We got to run, but thank you to Scott, Mohamed, Carrie, TJ, Melissa, and for joining us. We will see you all next time. For Cirroc and myself, Aaron Eisenberg, Malissa Longo, we'd like to say thank you very much, and always remember the 7th rule.